Rohan was known as the safe one. He had a stable job, a decent salary, and a life that looked perfectly fine from the outside. Every morning, he wore the same neatly ironed shirt, caught the same bus, sat at the same desk, and returned home at the same time. People admired his discipline, but deep inside, Rohan felt something was missing. Since childhood, he had loved painting. Colors made him feel alive. He dreamed of opening a small art studio where children and adults could learn creativity without fear of judgment. But every time he thought about it, one sentence stopped him. What if I fail? So he kept postponing his dream. One day, when the time is right, after I save more money, years passed. One evening, after a long day at work, Rohan met his old college friend Arjun at a cafe. Arjun looked different, confident, energetic, fulfilled. What are you doing these days? Rohan asked. Arjun smiled. I started my own bakery. Rohan was shocked. But you studied engineering. I know, Arjun laughed. But baking made me happy. I failed twice before it worked, lost money too, but I kept going. Rohan stared at him. Then Arjun asked quietly, and what about your dream? Rohan looked down. I am waiting for the right time. Arjun leaned forward and said something Rohan would never forget. The biggest mistake most people make in life is waiting too long to start living. That sentence hit him hard. That night, Rohan went home and opened the dusty box of paints he hadn't touched in years. The next weekend, he started teaching painting classes from his small apartment. Only two students came, but he continued. Slowly, word spread. Months later, those two students became 10, then 20. A year later, Rohan left his job and opened his own art studio. It wasn't easy. There were struggles, doubts, and sleepless nights, but for the first time in years, he felt alive. One evening, while watching his students paint with joy, Rohan realized something. He had not been afraid of failure, he had been afraid of change, and that fear had almost stolen his life. Lesson of the story: the biggest mistake most people make in life is waiting for the perfect time, perfect conditions, or perfect confidence. The moment rarely comes. Growth begins when you take action despite fear. If you keep delaying your dreams, you risk living someone else's life instead of your own. Start small, but start now. That is how real change begins.